So what we're going to cover in this first unit is just the basic intro to the human body, and we'll also cover topics such as the planes of the body, the anatomical position, and also some regional and directional terms that are regularly used in anatomy. So first of all, what is anatomy and physiology? So anatomy is the study of the structures of the human body, and we have two subcategories under anatomy. We have microscopic versus macroscopic. And microscopic is basically studying structures that you can't see with the naked eye, whereas macroscopic is studying things that you can see with the naked eye. So if we're studying things like cells where we need a microscope, that would be microscopic. If we're studying bones that we can clearly see with the naked eye, that would be macroscopic, also known as gross. Physiology, on the other hand, is the study of the function of the structures of the human body. So we'll talk a little bit about physiology in this course throughout the semester, but the focus is going to be on the anatomical features of the human body. So one thing I would like to start with are the levels of organization within the human body. So smallest or least complex to most complex, we have the chemical level, which includes things like atoms and molecules. The atoms and molecules get together to form cells, so that gives us the cellular level. Cells are basic units of structure and function in the human body. We'll also cover an entire chapter on cells. Cells get together and form tissues. There's 4 types of tissues in the human body that you can see listed here: epithelial, connective, muscle, and nervous. The tissues get together and form organs, which is a structure that has a specific function and is consisting of 2 or more tissue types. And then we have systems. So systems are a group of organs that work together to perform a specific function. And the systems get together and form the entire organism. So here is a image showing you the different levels of organization. So we have the chemical level, cellular level, tissue level, organ level, the organ system level, and then the entire organism. So the major systems of the human body that we are going to cover this semester include the integumentary system, which consists of the skin, the nails, and the hair. The skeletal system, which consists of the bones that gives us the support that we need. The muscular system, which allows for movement of the body. The nervous system, which allows different areas of the body to communicate via electrical impulses. We have the endocrine system, which consists of glands that secrete chemicals called hormones. Also allows different parts of the body to communicate with each other. Cardiovascular system consists of the heart and the blood vessels and the blood, and it allows various substances to be transported throughout the human body, including oxygen and nutrients. The lymphatic system is our immune system. It helps fight off disease and infection. The respiratory system allows us to get gases in and out of the body, including oxygen and carbon dioxide. That consists of the lungs and the airways. The digestive system consists of the GI tract, or the gastrointestinal tract, which is a long tube that runs through the entire body, and its primary function is to allow us to digest food and absorb that food into the body. And so in addition to the gastrointestinal tract, we have a lot of accessory organs like the liver, gallbladder, etc. Urinary system is our excretory system, allows us to get rid of waste. And then we have the reproductive system, which allows the human body to reproduce an entire organism. So we have a male reproductive system and a female reproductive system. So one thing that is an important concept in anatomy that we need to start with is the anatomical position. So this is always our reference point in anatomy. So if you look at this woman right here, she is standing facing forward with her palms facing forward. This is the anatomical position. So all of our references are made in reference to this position. Planes of the body include, a plane is an imaginary surface that passes through the body and allows us to examine the body in different ways. So we have three major planes, and then I'm going to add a fourth. So the transverse plane divides the body into top and bottom. The sagittal plane divides the body into left and right. If it's exactly in the middle, it's called the mid-sagittal plane. And then the coronal plane divides the body into front and back. The oblique plane, even though it's not labeled here, is any plane that runs at an angle to the body. So some more terminology before we leave this first unit. These are directional terms that refer to, if you're talking about two parts of the body, how they relate to each other. So anterior and posterior, I think most people can relate to. Anterior means towards the front, posterior towards the back. Superior means towards the top, inferior towards the bottom. Medial refers towards the midline of the body. So envision an imaginary line in the middle of the body. That would be the midline. If something is going towards or closer to the midline, it's called medial. Away from the midline is called lateral. And then these terms, proximal and distal, refer to the limbs. So if you think of the point of attachment of the arms as being the shoulder, point of attachment of the leg being the hip. If something's closer to that point of attachment, it's called proximal. If it's away from that point of attachment, it's called distal. And then we have some terms that are kind of repetitive, dorsal and ventral. So dorsal also means towards the back, so it's the same as posterior. Ventral means towards the front. And then deep versus superficial. So deep means away from the surface of the body, whereas superficial means towards the surface of the body. So you can use these terms to describe things in relationship to one another. So we could, for instance, say that the elbow is proximal to the hand because it's closer to the point of attachment. On the other hand, we could say the hand is distal to the elbow because it's further away from the point of attachment. So axial versus appendicular. So if you think of the body as two kind of areas, you have your main middle portion, which consists of the trunk and the head and the neck. That's called the axial region because it makes up the axis of the body. And then we have an appendicular region, which is everything outside of that. So your legs and your arms primarily. And then the last topic I want to cover in this brief intro is regional terms. So these are terms that should be second nature after learning or going through an anatomy course. And the terms here just refer to different areas of the body. So for the nose, we call it nasal, mouth, oral, the neck, cervical, shoulder is referred to as the deltoid region. And so you will also get a separate worksheet on this so you can practice learning these regional terms.